We begin first at 6 with that federal takeover now entering its second full day. Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm Adriana Hopkins.
And I'm Melanie Hastings in for Adam Longo. The White House confirming police made more than 60 arrests since the start of the operation Monday. The crimes ranging from murder to drug offenses. Police also got 6 illegal guns off the streets.
Now, all of this coming since the start of the president's crime crackdown. He's deploying around 800 National Guard members to D.C. to help combat what he calls out of control crime, even though data point to lower crime rates in the past year. However, many residents we talked to say they don't feel any safer. That's why federal agents are hitting the streets. Here's a new video into our newsroom overnight showing agents wearing FBI and DEA vests, some also wearing face masks, patrolling the streets of Georgetown overnight. And this new video shows U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agents parked outside of Union Station last night.
Now, D.C. leaders, residents, even MPD officers are all now weighing in on how they feel about this deployment, and you're going to hear from them coming up later this hour. But we want to begin with reporter John Gonzalez. He's live at the D.C. Armory this morning, breaking down exactly what these National Guardsmen have the authority to do. John, good morning.
Melanie, good morning. And it has been a emotional 24 hours here at the D.C. Armory. Dozens of men and women in camouflage fatigues carrying heavy duffel bags, some even carrying pillows and blankets into the D.C. Armory here. They are part of the 800 D.C. National Guard soldiers that have now been activated as part of the president's emergency declaration. Now, we are told this morning we will not see all 800 at once. Army officials say between 100 and 200 will be deployed on the streets at any given time. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says the troops will not carry out traditional police work, but they can detain suspects and turn them over to law enforcement here locally. The mission: protect federal assets, provide security for arrest, and serve as visible deterrents to violent crime. We spoke with an emotional D.C. resident, Fatima Ba, as she was dropping off her fiance. She told us he got his orders on Monday, and they stated that he would be deployed for 13 days.
It was devastating. He was hurt. You know, he was ready to go back to work. He just came back from drill on Sunday, you know, serving in drill. So it's just like everything is just happening so fast at rapid speed for him. He was in the Navy for 8 years, and he has been in the National Guard for 6 years. So he's used to it. However, this is a bit startling. This is like worse than January 6th. I have a 10-year-old son and a 2-year-old son. So that can be hard. You know, they just saw their dad for less than maybe 24 hours, and now he's gone again.
Now, the Guard here has been told to expect duty through September 25th, though the White House says that they could leave earlier if law and order is restored. Now, the mayor did meet with U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi yesterday to discuss this collaboration. Well, what was said after that meeting, coming up in the next half hour. Reporting live outside of the D.C. Armory this morning, John Gonzalez, 7 News.
After that meeting with the Attorney General, Mayor Bowser hosted an online meeting for the public to ask questions, where she pushed back against recent comments made by the Trump administration. Take a listen.
I know one thing that has everybody pretty mad, especially me, is the characterization of our city and our residents. And we have a beautiful city. We have 700,000 proud Americans who call DC home. And while we're not without our challenges, we take care of our own business and we take care of our own people. We don't live in a dirty city. We are not 700,000 scumbags and punks.
Well, D.C. residents also weighed in on the federal takeover. People living in Ward 8 in Southeast D.C. say they are not seeing police or National Guard activity in their neighborhoods, and they're wondering if they'll receive the same attention as Georgetown or Union Station, where those federal officers were seen last night.
There's a part of this city that, as I say before, may have a cold, but this area has pneumonia. We need to make sure that there's justice for the whole city, that there's equal attention in terms of love and justice.
According to MPD data, Ward 8 sees more crime compared to other parts of the city. And residents we spoke with say any help from law enforcement would be welcome. Of course, stay with 7 News as we continue to follow the federal takeover of D.C. police and the deployment of the National Guard. We have more insight into how this operation works and what D.C. police officers are saying about it. You can find that right now on our homepage.
To the latest on that federal takeover of D.C. and the deployment of the National Guard by President Trump to help address what he calls out-of-control crime. While you were sleeping, we got new video into our newsroom, and you're looking at federal agents here patrolling the streets of D.C. in high-traffic tourist areas like Union Station and Georgetown. And U.S. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll posted these photos of his speech to D.C. National Guard soldiers before they received their assignments. So let's get straight out to reporter John Gonzalez. He is live at the D.C. Armory, where about 100 National Guardsmen just filled out the necessary paperwork ahead of their local mission. John, good morning.
Good morning, Melanie. Yeah, some of the staffers here at the D.C. Armory tell me that they are expecting very long days, a lot of overtime over the next several weeks, similar to what they saw in 2021. In the aftermath of the J6 Capitol breach, more than 25,000 of these D.C. National Guard soldiers were brought in. Well, this time around, about 800 are being activated to secure the streets of D.C. Now, take a look at the video here. Many of them started arriving yesterday while our cameras were rolling. The Guard and federal agents are part of a rare mobilization here, and Mayor Muriel Bowser says she wants to make the most of it. She sat down Tuesday with U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, who now is leading the public safety effort here in the district.
There are opportunities for us to build upon our community engagement with our federal partners who work with us every day, and this is the time for us to do it. What I'm focused on is the federal surge and how to make the most of the additional officer support that we have.
Bondi did not go on camera after this meeting, but she said in a statement that this meeting was productive and pledges close collaboration with D.C. officials. However, the group Move On says more than 29,000 people have already signed a petition, 29,000 residents of D.C., stating that Congress needs to step in, and they are calling this a militarized takeover right now. Reporting live outside of the D.C. Armory, John Gonzalez, 7 News.
Maryland Governor Wes Moore is also weighing in on the federal takeover in D.C. He appeared on CNN and addressed the potential deployment of federal troops in Baltimore.
I take very seriously about how, when, and why I deploy members of our National Guard in cases of emergency and in true crises. And I will not authorize the usage of Maryland National Guard forces for missions that I do not deem to be either mission critical or mission aligned.
Well, President Trump talked about Baltimore during his announcement of the federal takeover in D.C. He said the crime situation in Baltimore is so bad the city isn't even mentioned anymore. Governor Wes Moore and Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott have pushed back on his claim.
And meantime, the head of D.C.'s police union, Greg Pemberton, says he supports the takeover, but he says the city's laws that make it hard for police to do their jobs need to change. He accuses the D.C. Council of being soft on crime.
The president's authority only lasts 30 days, and I think we all know at the end of those 30 days, these federal agents and these National Guardsmen are going to pack up and move along. And if in that interim, we're not doing something about the root causes, which is this bad legislation that was passed by the council, the MPD is going to be left holding the bag.
Well, right now, the D.C. Police Department is down more than 800 officers. Pemberton says staffing issues cannot be fixed until the council reverses legislation that he says makes D.C. less safe. So stay with 7 News as we continue to follow the federal takeover of D.C. police and the deployment of the National Guard. We've got more insight into how this operation will work and what people who live in D.C. are saying about it. It's all up right now. It's on our homepage.
This morning, D.C. police are searching for a group of more than 50 teenagers who trashed a convenience store in Northeast and injured an employee. Take a look here. Police released this surveillance video showing the incident that happened Friday at the Best Tobacco and Wireless store on Benning Road. Police said the teenagers destroyed the front door, stole food like chips and candy, and then threw them at a store employee, injuring his foot. 7 News reporter Tom Rousey asked the store's owner if they agree with the city's statements that crime is down.
The city keeps saying crime is down, but do you feel safe?
No, I don't think so. Crime is down. Crime is off.
In D.C.? Who told that lie?
Well, the store's owners say the teenagers who trashed the stores were young, maybe 10 or 12 years old. Now, we posted this new surveillance video on our homepage. If you know anything about this, police want to hear from you.